Hey, BookTube! Chelsea, the Reading Outlaw, here to do books 31 through 35 in my 5-book wrap-up. This one might be a little weird because the first two books I'm going to talk about are actually books 2 and 3 in a trilogy, the first one of which I talked about in my last book wrap-up, so I will link it in the title card and in the box down below so you can go and listen to the very tail end of that video to hear about the first book in the series. But the next book in the series, book number 31, is So You Want to Be a Jedi? By Adam Gidwitz. This is the second book in a series of middle grade novelization retellings of the Star Wars trilogy. So this one, the second one, is the novelization of the movie The Empire Strikes Back. I did not love this book. I only read this book because it was the middle book in the series. Otherwise, I would have said hard pass almost immediately because this book is written largely in the second person. It addresses the reader as you, and I just really don't like that. I didn't love it when N.K. Jemisin did it in the 5th season, and she is like the pro master, like MC come to reckon when it comes to using the second person. Adam Gidwitz, I did not like it. I did like that this book is written about, like, kind of, it says how to be a Jedi, so it's written like a training manual for the Jedi. However, because of that, it brings in a lot of really cool things I hadn't really thought about, so it kind of walks kids through, like, the steps of, like, deep breathing and focus breathing and meditation and guided visualization and how to make yourself calm with the Force and how that can help us interact with other people and our friends and our enemies and just all of those things. So I actually really, really appreciated that part. I feel like for kids that could be really helpful if you're needing those skills. This could be a really good way to kind of have them introduced to you. But then there's that fucking second person, and I just could not with this book. Logically enough, the next book I read would have been the third book in the series, and this is called Beware the Power of the Dark Side by Tom Engelberger. This is, of course, the novelization of Return of the Jedi, and yeah, it was great. I mean, you know, I love the original Star Wars trilogy. I love the last movie in the Star Wars trilogy. This one just was a nice, perfect, fine novelization of that movie, and it was a nice little button to the end of the series, and I'm really, really glad that I kind of stumbled upon these books in my overdrive and was able to listen to them because they really hit the spot on my Star Wars itch the day that I actually came across them. The next book is kind of a complete departure. It's Girls and Sex Navigating the Complicated New Landscape by Peggy Orenstein. I actually picked this up from my library like over a year ago originally, but never actually got around to reading it, so I read it this time on audio. This book, this is one of those books that especially if you're female who's done a lot of reading about gender and sexuality and young adulthood and the young adult population and how all of those things interact with politics and bodily autonomy and representation. This book is one of those books that's really interesting and really important, but that will make you really mad. This book spends a lot of time talking about sexual education, sexual mores, what we consider sexually appropriate in different aspects of society and different kind of sects of society, how those things interact, how we give messages across to young women about their bodies and about the sex that they have and whether or not that's healthy. This book talks a lot about rape and rape culture and consent and the line between the very real dilemma of teaching our daughters to be safe and also teaching boys not to rape our daughters. So there's this push and pull that is addressed in the book, but the book is coming from a very female-centered lens. So there are some of those things that I wish Peggy had dove into a little more, but Peggy Orenstein does almost all of her research talking to teens and young adults. So actually hearing that reporting from those groups specifically, like from the horse's mouth essentially, was really, really important and why I think this book really, really needs to be read. I think if we want to understand the hows and whys and no pun intended in and outs of teenagers having sex, we need to actually, you know, talk to teenagers. The next book I read was The Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. This was a reread for me for the Sisterhood of the Traveling Paperbacks podcast. I love this book. I adore this book. The other ladies didn't like this book so much. Episode will be linked down below as soon as it comes out, and you will find out why. And book number 35 was Oversea Under Stone. This is the first book in the Darkness Rising series by Susan Cooper. This was another podcast read for the Magical Space Pussycats. Boo did not like casual racism, imperialism, and misogyny all fucking over the place. Not super awesome. But again, episode link down below so you can hear the full gamut of actually like emotional responses and critiques that I had for this book. But I feel like the TLDR of it all is like, don't read, it's racist. And yeah, that's it. That's all for me. My dog's scratching at the door. That's why I'm like distracted. She wants in. But yeah, that's all for me. That's books 31 through 35. As always, you guys know the drill. Comment down below if you've read any of these or if you're wanting to read any of these. Hit me up on social media to talk books with you guys. Like, comment, subscribe, come back to see me. And until next time, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and have happy reading. Bye.